I wasn't supposed to be at the mate gathering at all. The invitation had been meant for my sister, beautiful Celeste with her golden hair and confident smile. But Celeste had found her mate 2 months ago, a strong beta from the northern packs, and our alpha didn't want to waste the opportunity. "You'll go in her place," Alpha Marcus had said, not looking at me. He never looked at me. "Just stand in the back, don't draw attention. We need to show we have eligible females." So here I was, pressed against the wall of the Grand Hall in Denver, wearing Celeste's dress that hung too loose on my smaller frame, trying to become part of the marble columns. My name is Rowan Gray. I'm 24 years old, and I've spent most of my life perfecting the art of invisibility. It started when I was 8 and my wolf refused to emerge during my first shift ceremony. The pack healer had examined me, his face growing grave as he announced that my wolf was fractured, damaged by some unknown trauma, too weak to fully manifest. In werewolf society, a broken wolf meant a broken person. My parents had tried to hide their disappointment. My father, a respected warrior, had 3 strong sons. I was supposed to be his princess, his pride. Instead, I became his shame. I learned quickly that the less space I took up, the less I reminded everyone of what I lacked. I worked in the pack kitchens, kept my eyes down, spoke only when spoken to. I became so good at being invisible that sometimes I wondered if I actually existed at all. The Grand Hall blazed with light and sound. Hundreds of wolves from across North America had gathered for this, the annual event where unmated wolves sought their fated mates. The air practically vibrated with pheromones and hope and desperation. Alpha Kincaid Thorne sat on a throne at the front of the hall, and even from my distant corner, his presence was suffocating. He was massive, easily 6.5 feet tall, with shoulders that seemed carved from granite. Black hair fell to his collar, framing a face that looked like it had been designed to inspire fear. Sharp jaw, high cheekbones, and eyes the color of winter ice. But it was the cold that really marked him. Everyone knew the story. 3 years ago, his fated mate had died in a rogue attack while he was away handling border disputes. They said he'd arrived home to find her body, said he'd shifted and hunted the rogues for 3 days straight, said he'd killed them all with his bare hands. They also said he'd never been the same, that the warm, just king had died with his mate, leaving behind something harder, colder, barely human. I'd heard the rumors in our pack, that he refused to take a chosen mate, that he ruled with brutal efficiency but no warmth, that he was more machine than man now. Looking at him now, I believed it. He sat perfectly still while females paraded before him, each one more beautiful than the last. His expression never changed. No interest, no attraction, nothing but cold assessment and inevitable dismissal. One by one, they were rejected. "He's looking for something," a wolf near me whispered to her friend. "But I don't think he even knows what." "He's looking for a ghost," her friend replied. "And you can't replace a ghost." I should have felt sympathy. Instead, I felt a strange kinship. We were both ghosts in our own way, him haunted by his dead mate, me haunted by the wolf I'd never been able to fully become. The presentation continued for another hour. My feet ached in Celeste's too-tight shoes. I was calculating how much longer I'd have to stay to satisfy Alpha Marcus when everything changed. The Alpha King stood abruptly, cutting off the female who'd been speaking to him mid-sentence. The entire hall fell silent. His head tilted slightly, nostrils flaring. He was scenting something. Ice flooded my veins as those winter-blue eyes began scanning the crowd. Past the presented females, past the proud alphas and betas, straight toward the back of the hall. Straight toward me. "No," I whispered. "No, no, no." But he was already moving, descending from his throne with predatory grace. The crowd parted before him like water, everyone scrambling to get out of his way. I pressed harder against the wall, praying I could somehow disappear into the marble. He stopped 3 feet in front of me. Up close, he was even more overwhelming. Power radiated from him in waves that made my fractured wolf whimper and hide deeper in my consciousness. His scent hit me, pine and snow, and something wild that made my skin prickle with awareness. "You," he said, his voice deep and rough like he didn't use it often. "What's your name?" Everyone was staring. I could feel their shock, their confusion, their judgment. "R. Rowan," I stammered. "Rowan Gray, Your Majesty." "Pack." "Silverstone, Your Majesty." His eyes narrowed. "Why are you hiding in the corner?" "Because I don't belong here. Because I'm broken. Because I learned a long time ago that invisible is safer than seen. I'm not here for presentation. I'm just unmated." I nodded, not trusting my voice. Something flickered in those cold eyes. He leaned closer, inhaling deeply at the curve of my neck. My entire body locked up. When he pulled back, his expression was unreadable, but his next words changed my life forever. "You'll come with me to the palace. We leave in an hour." Shock detonated through the hall. I heard gasps, whispers, someone's angry curse. "Your Majesty," Alpha Marcus appeared, his face flushed. "I'm sure there's been some mistake. She's not suitable for." Cade's eyes cut to him, and Marcus's words died in his throat. "Are you questioning my judgment?" Each word was precisely enunciated, terrifyingly calm. "No, Your Majesty, of course not." "Then see that she's ready to leave within the hour." Cade looked back at me. "Bring nothing. Everything you need will be provided." He turned and walked away, leaving me trembling against the wall while the entire supernatural world tried to figure out why the Alpha King had chosen the broken wolf that even her own pack had forgotten. The palace was in the mountains outside Denver, a sprawling compound of stone and glass that looked like it had grown from the peaks themselves. I'd ridden there in silence, sitting across from Cade in his SUV, while 2 guards drove and pretended not to stare at me in the rearview mirror. Cade hadn't spoken. He'd spent the entire drive staring out the window, his jaw tight, his hands clenched on his thighs. Whatever had compelled him to choose me, he didn't seem happy about it. A woman named Claire met us at the entrance. She was probably in her 50s, with kind eyes and an efficient manner. "This is Rowan," Cade said curtly. "Show her to the Luna's quarters. See that she has everything she needs." Then he was gone, striding away down a corridor without another word. Claire's eyebrows rose slightly, but she simply smiled at me. "Come along, dear. You must be exhausted." The Luna's quarters were bigger than my entire family home. A bedroom with a 4-poster bed, a sitting room with a fireplace, a bathroom with a tub the size of a small pool. Windows overlooked mountains that seemed to stretch forever. "I'll have some food sent up," Claire said, "and clothes in your size should arrive within the hour. His Majesty has requested you join him for breakfast tomorrow at 8. After she left, I sank onto the bed and tried to process everything that had happened. The Alpha King had chosen me. Me. Out of hundreds of beautiful, powerful females, he'd picked the broken one hiding in the corner. It didn't make sense. I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw those ice-blue eyes staring at me, felt the weight of his presence, remembered the way my fractured wolf had responded to his scent with something that felt almost like recognition. But that was impossible. Fated mates knew each other instantly, felt the pull, the certainty. I'd felt nothing like that. Just terror and confusion and a strange sense that my carefully invisible life was about to become very, very visible. At 7 the next morning, I woke to find Claire returning with a breakfast tray and a simple blue dress. "His Majesty prefers informal meals," she explained. "Nothing too fancy." The dress fit perfectly, falling to just below my knees in soft cotton. Claire helped me braid my dark hair, her hands gentle. "You're scared," she observed quietly. "Shouldn't I be? Cade Thorne is many things, but he's not cruel. Whatever his reasons for bringing you here, he won't hurt you." I wanted to believe her. Cade was waiting in a smaller dining room, already seated with coffee and a tablet he was scrolling through. He looked up when I entered, his expression unreadable. "Sit." I obeyed, taking the chair across from him. Staff appeared with food: eggs, bacon, fresh bread, fruit. My stomach was too knotted to eat. "You're not eating," Cade observed. "I'm not hungry, Your Majesty." "Cade, when we're alone, you'll call me Cade." I nodded, not trusting my voice. He set down his tablet and studied me. "You're terrified of me." "Yes." "Good, fear means you're smart." He leaned back. "But I didn't bring you here to terrorize you, Rowan." "Then why did you bring me here?" For the first time, his composure cracked slightly. His jaw tightened and he looked away. "I don't know." The honesty surprised me. "I scented you across that hall," he continued, his voice rough. "And something in me, my wolf, reacted in a way he hasn't reacted to anything in 3 years. Not recognition exactly, but pull, curiosity, something." He looked back at me, and I saw confusion in those cold eyes. Something almost vulnerable. "I don't understand it," he admitted. "You're not my fated mate. I already had one and she's dead. But there's something about you that my wolf won't let go of." My heart was pounding. "I don't understand either." "No, you wouldn't." He picked up his coffee. "Tell me about your wolf. Why were you hiding instead of being presented?" Shame burned through me. "My wolf is damaged. She won't fully emerge. I can't shift properly." "Show me." "What?" "Let your wolf surface, just enough to see her eyes." Panic flared. It's not." "Please." That word, soft and unexpected, undid me. I closed my eyes and reached for my wolf. She came reluctantly, like always, fractured and incomplete. I felt my eyes change, felt her looking out through them. When I opened my eyes, Cade had gone completely still. "Interesting," he murmured. "Your wolf isn't damaged, Rowan. She's dormant." "What's the difference?" "Damaged means broken beyond repair. Dormant means sleeping, waiting for the right trigger to wake up." His eyes were still on mine, wolf to wolf, and I think she's starting to wake. My wolf stirred at his words, more alert than she'd been in years. "I want to try something," Cade said. "May I approach you?" I nodded, not sure what else to do. He stood and moved around the table, stopping beside my chair. Then slowly, carefully, he extended his hand. "Take my hand." I placed my palm in his, and electricity shot through me. My wolf surged forward with sudden strength, pressing against my consciousness like she wanted out for the first time in my life. Cade's eyes widened. "You feel that?" "Yes," I gasped. "What is it?" "I don't know, but whatever it is, it's real." His thumb traced small circles on the back of my hand. "Stay here, Rowan. Help me figure out what this is. Give us, a month. If by then we haven't found answers, I'll send you home with enough money to start fresh wherever you want." A month. 30 days to understand this impossible pull between a broken wolf and a grieving king. "Okay," I whispered. "I'll stay." His hand tightened on mine, and for just a moment, I saw relief in his eyes. The first week passed in a strange routine. Cade and I would have breakfast together, and he'd ask me questions about my life, my pack, my experiences. I'd answer hesitantly at first, then more freely as I realized he actually listened. He told me about ruling, about the pressure of being responsible for thousands of wolves, about the loneliness of making decisions that affected lives. He didn't talk about his mate, not yet. In the afternoons, He'd work while I explored the palace with Claire as my guide. The place was massive, training grounds, gardens, a library that made my heart sing. "You like books," Claire observed as I ran my fingers over leather spines. "I love them. They let you be someone else for a while." "Who would you be if you could be anyone?" I considered that. Someone brave, someone who mattered. Claire's expression softened. "Oh, honey, you already are those things. You just haven't realized it yet." The evenings were when things changed. After dinner, Cade would find me wherever I was, usually the library, and we'd talk. Sometimes about nothing important, sometimes about everything. "Tell me about your wolf," he said one night. We were sitting by the fire, the first snow of winter falling outside the windows. He'd brought wine, and the alcohol had loosened both our tongues. "What do you want to know?" "When did she stop emerging?" I stared into my glass. "When I was 8, there was an accident during a pack run. One of the young wolves got separated, and I found him cornered by a bear. I tried to help, but I was small, weak. My wolf came forward to protect him, but my voice broke. She wasn't strong enough. The bear hurt us badly. By the time the adults arrived, I was unconscious. When I woke up a week later, my wolf was gone, hiding somewhere I couldn't reach." Cade was quiet for a long moment. "You saved that young wolf's life." "I almost got us both killed." "But you didn't. You put yourself between a child and a predator when you were just a child yourself." His voice was soft. "That's not weakness, Rowan. That's courage." I'd never thought of it that way. "Your wolf didn't break," he continued. "She retreated to heal, and no one ever gave her a reason to come back out. Until now." "Until now." His eyes met mine. "She feels safe with my wolf. I don't understand why, but she does." We sat in comfortable silence, watching the fire. "Tell me about her," I said quietly. "Your mate." Cade's jaw tightened, but he didn't shut down. "Luna, her name was Luna." A ghost of a smile. "She hated her name, said it was too on the nose for a werewolf. She was bright, happy, everything I wasn't. She made me better." "How did you meet?" "At a treaty signing. She was the daughter of a neighboring alpha. We felt the bond instantly." His hands clenched. "I had 10 years with her, 10 perfect years. And then I left her alone to handle a border dispute, and rogues attacked the palace. By the time I got back." He stopped, his breathing harsh. I did something I'd never done before. I reached out and took his hand. He stared at our joined hands, like he'd forgotten what touch felt like. "I'm sorry," I whispered. "I'm so sorry you lost her." "Everyone says that, but you mean it. I can hear it in your voice." We sat like that for a long time, hands clasped, sharing grief we couldn't put into words. Week 2 brought changes. Cade started touching me more, casual brushes as we passed, his hand on my lower back when we walked, fingers tangling with mine while we talked. Each touch made my wolf stronger, more present. "She's waking up," I told him one morning, after I'd actually felt her moving clearly in my mind for the first time in years. "Good," he smiled, a real smile that transformed his severe face. "Let her." But not everyone was happy about my presence. The pack's beta Marcus, not my alpha Marcus, confusingly, had been civil but cold since my arrival. On the 15th day, he finally confronted me. I was in the library when he entered, closing the door behind him. "You need to leave," he said without preamble. My heart sank. "I don't understand." "The king is getting attached to you. I can see it. The whole pack can see it. But you're not his fated mate, and you can never replace Luna." "I'm not trying to replace anyone." "Aren't you?" His eyes were hard. "You're broken, Rowan. Your wolf can't even shift. What kind of Luna would that make you?" The words hit like physical blows, because they were everything I'd always believed about myself. "I see what you're doing," Marcus continued. "Preying on his grief, on his loneliness. But when he realizes what you are, damaged goods from a nothing pack, he'll send you away. And the longer you stay, the worse that rejection will hurt. He left me sitting there, shaking. Maybe he was right. Maybe I was being selfish, letting Cade get close when I had nothing to offer him. Maybe. Rowan. I looked up to find Cade in the doorway, his expression thunderous. How long have you been there? I asked. Long enough to hear Marcus being an ass. He strode into the room. Don't listen to him. He's right, though. I am broken. I can't shift, I can't be a proper Luna, Cade pulled me to my feet and cupped my face in his hands. You are not broken, he said fiercely. You're healing, there's a difference. But, do you know what I see when I look at you? His eyes held mine. I see someone who survived trauma and kept going. Someone kind and strong and real. Someone who makes me feel alive for the first time in 3 years. My breath caught. I didn't choose you because of your wolf, Rowan. I chose you because something in me recognized something in you. And every day I spend with you confirms that I made the right choice. I'm scared, I whispered. So am I, his thumb traced my cheekbone. I'm terrified, because caring about someone means risking loss again, and I don't know if I could survive that twice. But you make me want to try anyway. He leaned down slowly, giving me time to pull away. I didn't. Our first kiss was soft, tentative, perfect. When we pulled apart, we were both trembling. Stay, he whispered against my lips. Not for a month, just stay. Okay, I breathed. Okay. Week 3 brought a challenge I didn't expect. A delegation from the Nightshade Pack arrived, led by an alpha named Victoria. She was beautiful, powerful, everything I wasn't, and she'd apparently been Luna's best friend. Cade, she said warmly when she arrived, embracing him like she had every right. It's so good to see you. Over dinner that night, Victoria regaled everyone with stories of Luna. How funny she was, how beloved, how perfect. Each story felt like a knife, reminding everyone, especially me, that I could never measure up. Luna would have loved this wine, Victoria said, smiling at Cade. Remember that trip we took to Napa? I remember, Cade said tightly. She was always so full of life, so vibrant. Victoria's eyes cut to me briefly. It must be hard, moving forward after losing someone so irreplaceable. The message was clear. You're a poor substitute. I excused myself before dessert, pleading a headache. Cade found me an hour later in the library, my refuge. Rowan. It's fine, I said quickly. Victoria's right. Luna was special and I'm just... Don't. He crossed the room and pulled me into his arms. Don't compare yourself to her. You're not a replacement. You're something different, something I need. But you loved her. I did, I still do in a way. She'll always be part of my past. He tilted my face up. But you're my present, Rowan, and maybe my future if you'll have me. Even though I'm broken. You're not broken, and even if you were, his smile was soft. I'm pretty broken too. Maybe we can be broken together. I kissed him then, pouring everything I couldn't say into the contact. When we pulled apart, he rested his forehead against mine. My wolf wants to try something, he said. If you'll let us. What? A run. Tonight, under the full moon. I think maybe my wolf can help yours remember how to emerge. Fear shot through me. Cade, I haven't shifted in 16 years. What if? I'll be right there. You're safe with me. It was terrifying and insane, and I couldn't imagine saying no. Okay, I whispered. Let's try. We went to a private clearing behind the palace, moonlight turning everything silver. Cade shifted first, his transformation smooth and powerful. His wolf was massive, black as midnight with those same ice-blue eyes. He came to me and nuzzled my hand, patient. I closed my eyes and reached for my wolf. For the first time in 16 years, she reached back. The shift hurt, my bones cracking, muscles reforming, fur sprouting. I screamed as my body changed, as my wolf finally emerged. When it was over, I stood on 4 legs instead of 2. I was smaller than Cade, my fur russet brown instead of black, but I was whole. My wolf threw back her head and howled, a sound of joy and freedom and coming home. Cade's wolf answered, and then we were running. Through the forest, under the moon, 2 broken souls finally feeling complete. When we shifted back an hour later, both exhausted and exhilarated, Cade pulled me into his arms. "You're not broken," he said fiercely. "You never were." I buried my face in his chest and cried, but this time from happiness. The final week of the month brought everything to a head. Victoria confronted me in the gardens. "You need to understand something," she said coldly. "Cade is still grieving Luna. Whatever he feels for you is just him trying to fill the void she left. Once the newness wears off, he'll realize you're not enough." "Why are you doing this?" I asked. "I'm not trying to erase Luna's memory." "Aren't you? You're living in her quarters, wearing her crown, taking her place." Victoria stepped closer. "But you'll never be what she was, and deep down, Cade knows that." Her words haunted me for days. What if she was right? What if I was just a bandage over a wound that would never truly heal? I started pulling away, making excuses not to join Cade for meals, hiding in the library instead of seeking him out. On the 20th day, he'd had enough. He found me in the library and shut the door. "Talk to me," he demanded. "What's going on?" "Nothing." "Don't lie. You've been avoiding me for 3 days. Did I do something wrong?" "No, I couldn't look at him. Victoria said." "I don't care what Victoria said." He turned my face to his. "I care what you think, what you feel." "I think," my voice broke, "I think maybe I'm being selfish, letting you care about me when I can never be what Luna was." Cade's eyes flashed with anger, not at me but for me. "You're right, you can never be what Luna was." His hands cupped my face. "Because you're not Luna, you're Rowan, and I don't want you to be anyone else." "But..." "Luna was my past, my first love. She shaped who I am, and I'll always carry her memory. But she's gone, Rowan, and I can't keep living in a tomb built from grief." Tears streamed down my face. "You brought me back to life," he continued. "You made me feel again, hope again, want again. Not because you replaced her, but because you're you, strong and kind and brave and real. I'm scared of not being enough. I'm scared too. Scared of losing you, scared of failing you, scared of 1,000 things." His smile was soft. "But I'd rather be scared with you than safe and alone." He kissed me then, deep and sure and full of promise. "I love you," he whispered against my lips. "Not because you're like her, but because you're you." "I love you too," I breathed. And for the first time in my life, I felt truly seen. On day 30, Cade called a formal pack gathering. I stood beside him in the great hall, my heart pounding. He'd told me what he planned to do, but the reality of it was terrifying. "I asked you all here today to witness something important," Cade announced. His hand found mine, squeezing gently. "3 years ago, I lost my fated mate. I thought I'd lost my future with her. But I've learned that life doesn't end with loss, it just changes direction." He turned to me, and the love in his eyes stole my breath. Rowan Gray came into my life when I'd forgotten how to live. She reminded me that healing is possible, that being broken doesn't mean being beyond repair, that sometimes the most powerful connections come from the most unexpected places. He dropped to one knee, and the entire hall gasped. "Rowan, you're not my fated mate, but you're my chosen one, my partner, my anchor, my heart." He pulled out a ring, simple silver with a small diamond. "Will you marry me? Will you be my Luna, my queen, my mate in every way that matters?" Tears blurred my vision. Yes, I whispered. Yes, 1,000 times yes. He slipped the ring on my finger and kissed me while the pack erupted in applause. Not everyone was happy. I saw Victoria leave in a storm of fury, but I didn't care. I'd found my place, my home, my pack. And I'd found myself. Months later, on our wedding day, I stood in Luna's quarters, now my quarters, and looked at my reflection. The woman staring back wasn't invisible anymore. She wore a white dress, flowers in her dark hair, and eyes that finally held confidence instead of fear. Claire appeared in the doorway. Ready. Yes, I said, and I meant it. The ceremony took place in the gardens under a full moon. Cade waited at the altar in formal black, his eyes locked on me as I walked down the aisle. When I reached him, he took my hands. You look beautiful, he whispered. You're not so bad yourself. We spoke our vows before the pack and the moon goddess. When it came time for Cade's personal vows, his voice was rough with emotion. Rowan, you taught me that healing isn't about forgetting the past. It's about making peace with it while building a future. You showed me that love can come twice in a lifetime, just in different forms. And you proved that the most invisible people often have the strongest hearts. My own vows were simpler. Cade, you saw me when I'd spent my whole life hiding. You showed me that broken things can heal, that being damaged doesn't mean being worthless, and that sometimes the right person makes you brave enough to take up space in the world. I love you, and I choose you every day for the rest of our lives. When he kissed me, sealing our bond, my wolf howled in my mind with pure joy. We were no longer broken. We were healing together. Years later, when young wolves would ask how the invisible girl became queen, I'd tell them the truth. That sometimes being seen by the right person changes everything. That healing isn't linear, and love doesn't follow rules. That you can honor the past while building the future. And that the Alpha King hadn't looked at anyone for 3 years, until he saw a broken wolf hiding in the corner and recognized something in her that called to the broken parts of himself. Our story wasn't about replacing what was lost. It was about 2 damaged souls finding each other and discovering that together, they could become whole.